Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. We are in Ubud on the island of Bali in the country of Indonesia, and it is our fourth night here. And we have stayed in a different hotel room each night, and each night is more magical than the last. Shamar, what do you think?
It's been a mind blowing shift in reality coming from Korea to here. Mind blown. I don't know how. We found this amazing place to stay in Ubud. And coming from the industrial, dingy, grimy place that is Korea to this tropical paradise is something else, let me tell you. I think the first 72 hours my mental, like, I don't know, my mind chatter was basically all day just saying, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." like like it's just total in awe for 72 hours. Just yeah, insanely beautiful.
Now, this place is, it's hard to compare to America, where we're from, because we haven't been to America in almost 5 years. So we keep comparing it to Korea. And I don't know if that's fair to Bali, but I gotta say, Korea is one of the more closed, conservative, unexpressive places in the world. And this Bali is one of the most open, expressive, like outwardly happy places in the world.
Are they known as the land of smiles? Or is that somewhere else?
I
I
don't
thought I
know.
heard that. Maybe not, but yeah, I'd say like right off the bat when we landed in the airport, and we were coming out, like right away I felt a different vibe. Like I said it was like a serene friendliness. There's like a calmness, but there's also like this friendliness and this really beautiful smile. It doesn't really seem put on. Maybe it is, but it seems pretty genuine. And most everybody I run into that's Balinese seems to just be, it just seems part of their way of being. Yeah.
There was one time in Korea where I saw a guy climb on a motorcycle, and he had this giant smile on his face, and I was like, "Whoa!" And it shocked me
It
because
stood out.
it stood out, and that was the only time I had seen. And I didn't even know until at that time that it was the only smile I'd seen in public in years, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then I thought, "Wait a minute." And he drove away, and I looked, and he had come out of the Thai grocery store. He was a Thai person. And that was the only smile I saw in public in Korea. Everything's very deadpan there and kind of serious. People avoid eye contact, closed. And here, I say thank you to people, and they actually seem to appreciate it and not just kind of nod along and try to get me to go away after I've exchanged money or something. So, quite a difference. Other
Yeah.
differences?
Well, I think that's just like why my mind is blown so much right now is because it is such an extreme difference from Korea. Like, you could not, I mean, it's like total opposite ends of the spectrum, it seems, or very definitely very far away on the spectrum from each other. Just from and then also we're coming out of the Korean winter, so it is completely brown. There are no leaves in sight. It's cold. It's just, and so basically you're saying brown and concrete square drab buildings, right? And then you get to Bali and it's like Eden. Like it's like I just keep saying it's like Eden, and I'm just sitting there and then I'm like in the pool looking at the palm trees swaying and like so much life and beauty and flowers and palm trees, and it's just like life is just pulsing with energy,
There's fruit on the trees.
yeah, and it's just, and the thing is, it's not just like I'm noticing this in my mind. I'm definitely having an inner dialogue that's just, oh my God. But I'm actually feeling it in my body. And my body is just, it's like downshifting, like a car when it downshifts. And it's like the same thing. My body's like, I guess it's been like living in Korea, it's been a little bit, what's the word, contracted. And then like having worked with kids for all these years where you constantly are around noise and screaming and little kids just like always wanting your attention, so my body has been what did I say, retracted, no, contracted. But now being around nature and is just, oh my god, I can feel like layers starting to loosen, and I don't know how long it's going to take to more fully heal.
There's
You know.
also in Korea there are security cameras everywhere. Like you can't go. I mean, maybe in the bathroom.
Even then,
if
you question it
your
sometimes.
question is, and there's signs saying like sometimes people put spy cameras in the bathroom,
But
so
we will check it.
be careful. And there's a big fine and for putting that up in the bathroom. But every other room, like you go to a cafe, you go to a convenience store, you go anywhere, there are cameras in every single room. And here I'm just walking around and I very rarely see security cameras. There's a gym here, which I've taken full advantage of because we did not have access to one in Korea.
Well, we were working out in the art room. We made it our gym.
Yeah, we worked out at work for a while until it got too cold and we got too busy packing and all that. And so I had to work out at home, which was weights on a bench. But here I can actually work out in their little rudimentary gym, and there's no camera, which kind of weirdly shocked me. And it's a small thing, but I just keep noticing, like, wow, I'm not on surveillance all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And people are smiling, and my body is still adapting not to not being on display all the time and not having to like perform the role of the good foreigner who doesn't upset the social order in Korea. There's kind of a layer of judgment, I guess, in Korean culture. I know that sounds like a mean thing to say, but you live in a place long enough, you can kind of tell a lot of when people aren't really openly expressive, there's a lot of thinking going on beneath the surface, and people pay attention to small nuances and kind of who you are, what you're doing, how you're behaving in relation to everyone else. And here, I just don't get that feeling very much. I mean, people see us and they definitely are like, "Yeah, you're a foreigner. Do you want a taxi ride? Do you want to go on a tour? You know." Around the tourist areas, of course, like you get everywhere in the world, but I don't feel like I'm being really judged.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I noticed, so I said there's kind of like this serene friendliness or this calm friendliness, but also, and I mean, I could be wrong, we just got here, it's been 4 days, but the other thing is like, I get this sense that people are very much like there's a very strong community fabric in a very different way than in Korea. Like I feel like in Korea it's more formal and like okay, there's certain rules you have to follow. And we're here it feels a little more genuine. Like people actually are hanging out with their friends, like an equal kind of basis. And I'm sure there's different levels of politeness and all of this, but like I just kind of get the sense I see people hanging out in the corner and they're chatting and they just seem like they'd spend hours just sitting there talking with each other. Like it just definitely seems less rushed and in some ways more genuine. But I could be totally wrong. I mean, this is just what I'm picking up, you know.
One thing I noticed is that in Korea, if there's ever music playing in a restaurant or a bar or any sort of outdoor location where people are gathering and enjoying themselves, in Korea it's recorded music and usually kind of a synthetic music. Hip hop and boy bands are really big in Korea, and a lot of I don't know, like show tune type schmaltzy music with a synthesizer playing in the background. I think it's funny, uh, but I would not really choose to listen to it.
It's super
It's
cheesy.
super cheesy and a lot of boom 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 like that kind of thing in Korea, but here I don't hear any of that type of music or even any hip hop. It's all like acoustic guitar and a lot of like rocker type. That's the youth culture seems to be more into like rock and roll than they are into hip hop, like they are in a lot of other places in the world. And I remember driving. Well, not driving. I was in the back of the taxi, going to Ubud, and I saw this security guard spacing out with one of those little red flags to usher people into the parking lot. And he was spacing out with his little red flag, and he was like ghost playing guitar on it. And like imagining that he was playing the guitar and he was like rocking out with his little vest on and everything. And I've seen a lot of people just like playing little ukuleles on the street, just not really trying to get attention, but just because they consider it a fun thing to do. And I've said before, I couldn't find live music anywhere in Korea. But here, it just seems like there's a lot more, like I said, open expression, and just more. There's more art per square kilometer here than in Korea, and a lot of other places I've been to. At the same time, it doesn't seem like there's nearly as much crime as I would find in other places.
Yeah.
So that's good. But it does seem like there's more crime than in Korea. I mean, you can't beat the king. Korea is pretty tranquil with lack of street crime, but you do hear stories of people getting their phones snatched by people on motorcycles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we haven't experienced any of this yet, but we're pretty new, so.
Yeah.
What else? What else? I mean, I gotta say, we've been kind of hiding out in this, what is this, like a guest house that we found? It's actually a yoga, it's like a sanctuary slash retreat center. And it's hidden away in this little valley with a small little stream running through the center. So, and it's very old, like traditional, with the beautiful wood carvings and stonework, and I think it's 3 stories high with these different rooms, and it's some of the rooms are like looking out over this large expanse of land, and you're seeing palm trees just as far as the eye can see.
Gotta
I
say,
mean, it's like an Eden.
there's shrines everywhere.
Shrines
There's
everywhere.
shrines and little like temples with gardens and statues and ornate stone reliefs.
It's insanely beautiful.
Like everywhere, like they cram so much detail and visual art into every nook and cranny. It's just astounding to me how much attention to detail goes into everything here.
Yeah, yeah, and but it's like,
Even the best hotels that we've stayed at in Korea, like none of them have anything close to the level of attention to detail or artistry that
no way.
even the cheapo hotels have here.
Yeah, it's one thing I also heard about on the like negative side was how bad the traffic has gotten. And I will attest to the fact that like I don't even really want to be out on the main roads because it is insane, and all the tranquility and all of the like healing that I do by like living in this Eden for a few days and getting some massages, hanging out by the pool, it's constantly just thrown out the window when I head out and I get on one of these roads and I'm like my ears are battered with motorcycles. You cross the street and you're afraid you're going to get run over. I mean, it is intense out there.
I was going to save that for later when we
Oh.
got to the kind of problems of the area. But yeah, the overwhelming the overwhelming annoyance here is the traffic and motorcycles, like scooters and motorcycles, like really loud, like brum brum brum, like constant. It's just like it's a queue, like row after like there's no or hardly a space to cross the road. Just endless amounts of scooters down every street. There's a few primarily pedestrian places that you can get to that are away from the main roads, but oh man, it is stressful just walking down the block with all the motorcycles. So
Yeah. And I'd say that most tourists who are planning to stay for 2 months, like we are, or longer, they do go ahead and get scooters. But as of yet, we're not really feeling that we want to do that. We just want to live a simple life, find a little, nook, a little area of town that we like, and just kind of hang out there.
Still
And
decompressing,
still
so
decompressing.
hitting that gym, going
Yeah.
swimming, trying to get sleep.
I don't know. After 4.5 years teaching the kids in Korea, I don't know how long it's going to take to decompress, but at least a few weeks, at least a week for sure, maybe two, maybe three, maybe even a month. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, so that was kind of a negative thing, but back to the good side, or something else that I experienced today, is we finally ventured out and we went and found the oh so famous smoothie bowls that you always see on Instagram. So I found a healing food cafe sort of place. And we had to get through all this traffic on foot to get there. But when we finally got there and had the darn thing, I gotta say it was pretty good. It was really delicious. So I guess Ubud has a lot of that, the healing, healthy food, raw, vegan, all of that. So,
I'm going to try to refrain from teasing the hippies.
but you did enjoy it though.
Oh, I enjoyed my food.
Yeah.
I do. Korean food is generally better
Yeah.
than the local food I've gotten here. And then there's all the food that's super organic, Ayurvedic or whatever. And this all catering to the Western tourists who want vegan, tofu, tempeh, everything. And some of it is actually quite good. They're pretty good at serving overpriced avocado bowls and things like that. But overpriced here means like $4 instead of $1.
Yeah. Well, the first night we landed, our plane didn't get in till about, I don't know, almost midnight by the time we got out of the airport. And then the taxi driver brought us to the little hotel we were staying at. And we got there and we were so hungry. And it was like 2 in the morning. And this hotel was on this busy street and there were no restaurants, there were no convenience stores nearby. And so, before I'd come, I'd look on YouTube and people were like, hey, use this app. You can get people to deliver you stuff. So we ended up using it for the first time and we got some Indonesian food delivered to us at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Nasi goreng.
Yeah, for about $4, and that included the delivery fee. And our mind was blown. We were like, "What? $4 for delivery, including delivery fee?" And the middle of the night. And it didn't take any longer than 30 minutes to get the food, and we were just pretty much mind blown. And we've continued to use this service, and it's great. And it keeps us from having to go out into all that busy traffic. We just get one of these guys to bring. We had some. What do we have? Like a wrap was delivered to us, and
They deliver more than food. They can
Yeah.
bring you like
if you want shampoo, they can bring you shampoo, whatever you
like,
want.
bring you beer, bring you a phone adapter, that kind of thing. Band-aids, shampoo. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anything they can deliver it, and it's a very small fee, and it'll probably deliver to you within 30 minutes to an hour. So it's pretty amazing.
They don't. They say tipping isn't mandatory, but I found out like after the first night that you probably should tip. And at first I was, because we came from Korea where like if you try to tip someone, they'll look at you like you're trying to bribe a cop. They're like any taxi driver, any restaurant owner, they'll just be like, no, absolutely not. Go take your money. I'm not a criminal. Go away. Like the price is the price. And so after failing to tip the first guy, I felt bad because I double checked and they're like, yeah, dude, pay $10. But I didn't have exact change, so I was just kind of thinking that, I don't know.
Well, you learn as you go. Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we tip.
Still felt bad though.
I know.
So now, yeah, I've got to tip extra to make up for that first
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still trying to. I don't know. I don't like. I read about what the hotels and tourist development is doing to the island, and I'm trying not to think about that too much because I'm not going to come here to just complain about the negative. Still enjoying the good stuff, but there is that dark side of developing river areas and building hotels near sacred temples where they shouldn't be built, and draining the aquifers and messing up the environment and all that. So there is that too. So yes, we're enjoying ourselves. Yes, there is traffic as a problem, but yes, there's also probably the central dynamic that I can't stop thinking about is like the island is dependent on tourism for its economy. Yet the island is slowly being eaten by tourism at the same time, and it's messing up their culture and their environment. So I don't know. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
There is a guy, and I thought maybe I would talk about him later when I read more of his biography. But he's like a crusading Balinese lawyer who's been out of out of prison for standing up for human rights and the environment here, and he's been fighting various development projects. And I understand that the youth culture on Bali, there's a lot of like punk bands who are really, really an activist oriented. They try to rally other youth to oppose destructive tourist projects and things like that. And it's been evolving for about, I think that the general social movements that have been popping up, sprouting up and trying to grow, that's been going on since the 90s on a bigger scale. So it's kind of interesting to read about. I was thinking it'd be cool to like find some of these people, maybe go to a fucking punk show. That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
And see what the local Balinese are all about, and maybe a lot of people speak English here, so it'd be nice to talk to some about their thoughts on the island and all that. So yeah, we're gonna be here for a while, so I'm gonna try to find some Balinese punks. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea. Let's see, what else? Anything else? I think there was one other thing. What was it?
It's hot.
Yeah, it is hot. It's much hotter.
There aren't as many bugs as I thought there'd
Well,
be.
that's a good thing. Yeah, definitely.
Motorcycles are loud. The food is not as good as Korea, but almost no place in the world has as good food as Korea. But people are nicer, and it's more rock and roll rather than hip hop. People seem to. There's more live music. There are people. Ooh, there's a gecko on our ceiling. Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, there's geckos all over the place here.
Yeah, it doesn't fall in the middle
That's
of the
another
night.
thing.
It's a little figure.
If you drop a crumb on the floor, these tiny, tiny little ants will
Just be on it.
go straight for it.
Yeah.
I love being surrounded by life.
Yeah.
It drizzles a couple times a day. It's the rainy season.
Tail end of the rainy season.
Tail end of the rainy season. And when does the dry season start?
I think for sure April, but it might be the end of March. So we have maybe like a month and a half or so left.
After Nyepi, the Day of Silence, which is, I think that's what day?
I think it's like end of March sometime. I don't know, like the 24th or something like that.
Maybe it roughly coincides with that, I think.
Yeah.
So we came a little before tourism kicks off, and I haven't seen any Australians yet, which I think they tend to come more later in the year when it's Australian winter. And so I don't know. They say if this is low tourism season because of the rain and we are just surrounded by motorcycle noises constantly, I can only imagine what it's going to be like in a few months. But loving, absolutely adoring the people. The people are the best thing about this island. I love all the shrines, and this is just astounding woodwork and paintings.
Oh my goodness.
Just everywhere. And they, make little folded offerings on the ground, like even in the most congested pedestrian areas with the tiniest, narrowest sidewalks. You'll see these little clusters of
like palm leaves
and rose petals that you have to be careful not to step on, but little offerings all over the place. And
yeah. I mean, I guess there's not a ton to report right now because we're in this like healing from burnout stage where we just want to hang out and get massages and be by the pool and absorb all the nature. But I'm sure in the next few weeks we'll start venturing out a little more. We definitely want to go see some of the dances, traditional dances. We want to check out the waterfalls, go to some of the beautiful temples, what the tourists do, of course, these sort of things. But I think what I'm most interested in is just, yeah, being around the nature. It's just so nice to be around this nature that's so vibrant and alive, and just it's really filling my being with just life and beauty, and I just can't get enough of it. So and after coming from Korea, I just have a deep, I know I keep saying this, but like, oh my gosh, I just have such a deep appreciation of a blue sky with no pollution. I mean, it almost seems unreal to me. And I know, like, before I went to Korea, I wouldn't even think twice. It's like, of course the sky is blue. It was never an issue living where I lived in America. But after Korea, I do not take blue skies for granted anymore. For the last 4.5 years, there's always been pollution, and it's a huge problem. And so now that we don't have that here in Bali, and it's like intensely blue, the sky is so clear, I'm just blown away. Mm-hmm. And humans are meant to be in nature. Like, when nature is harmonious and we don't interfere with it, it supports the human body. It supports our psychological, our emotional, all of this. It's our well-being. And when that gets out of whack, it throws the psychology off of whack. It throws all of it off of whack. I mean, I definitely can attest to that because I went through it. Yeah. And there were times, and I'll say, I even tried to like meditate it away. Like, no, it's all inner. It's in the inner world. But I'm sorry, when you wake up and you go outside and it's dark and polluted, you can't just meditate it away. You can't. So,
well, I had a different mentality because I have this kind of romantic idea of like dystopian industrial future. Like, it's the kind of thing I would draw, and the kind of cyberpunk dystopian future. And here I am in the center of it with factories and garbage and pollution and struggling through it. And Shamar was just like, no, I'm not going to pretend that there's any romantic silver lining to struggling in the industrial fog of this. Like,
I mean, I get the grimy like aesthetic, but like, okay, if I get a taste of it for like a week or two, but 4.5 years, like, no, thank you. I mean, I did it. So that chapter has been, I guess the chapter is closed. It's almost hard to believe. We're on to a new chapter, and it seems light years away. Mm-hmm. But I value Korea for what, was gained from it. And the biggest things that were gained, well, one of them is appreciation for the natural beauty of nature and its like harmonious form. And keep going back to this a million times.
You appreciate what you didn't have in Korea, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I appreciate the things that we didn't have. Mm-hmm. Like, I took nature, beautiful nature, for granted. And there's so many things I learned from Korea, but yeah. And
I just can't stop marveling at the handicrafts. There's like the furniture and the fact that I haven't seen any linoleum here, like the fake wood thing that you see, all the kind of plasticky.
Oh yeah, well, they don't have to do that.
They don't have to do
They have like such artistry and these artisans creating the most beautiful
beautiful hardwood everything, and like the
the
floors are granite,
like
smooth
marble, or wood,
all over the place.
Yeah, and then everywhere you see these there's like the super fancy spas you can go to, but then there's also these little mom and pop stores where they're giving all kinds of massages. There's Ayurvedic offerings with oils. There's the stone massages. You can get the foot reflexology. I mean, you name it, it's here. And we're definitely taking advantage, and it's amazing how freaking cheap it is compared to the U.S. I mean, you can get an hour massage for like $10, $12.
This is new territory for me, by the way. Like, I don't think
you got your first massage here.
Yeah, my first massage here. Yeah, normally I just don't like feeling sticky.
You don't like the oils?
No, I don't. I feel sticky. Like, I don't like that. I guess I like being massaged, but I'm a good massager myself, and I always feel like, I don't know, it feels like I'm demanding that they fan me with palm leaves and feed me grapes. Like there's this kind of like Caligula sort of feeling to being massaged. And I
But
don't
it's
and I don't like being sticky, and so and why would I pay money for, I don't know.
but it's a healing art form, and that it's like
I guess.
they have that skill that they've learned, and they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and it's so good for the body to have all.
I want to know how traditional their traditional Balinese massage is.
Yeah.
Because I keep seeing that everywhere, and I'm like, is that like something they invented for tourists? But a lot of the hippies and wellness people really like massages and will pay a lot of money for that. So yeah, they did a good job, and I still don't like being sticky. And anything else?
I think that's it. I mean, is
I
that
want
it?
I want deep tissue.
You want deep tissue.
Yeah, I don't like the sticky stuff. Yeah, my shoulder's kind of messed up, so now I actually have a medical reason
Yeah.
to get my dirt cheap, high quality massage.
I do want to try as many of the treatments as I'm able. That especially like I'm interested in some of the, well, of course, anything that's like Balinese or Indonesian, I'm very interested in. But I'm also interested in the Ayurvedic treatments with the oils. I've never had those. I've known about them. I've never had them. So I want to try those out while I'm here. And
Yeah, I'm not interested in the wellness stuff. Like,
no, I so am.
but you are.
I really, really am.
See, that's why
Yeah.
we're a team.
Yeah.
Because we complement each
We
other.
complement each other.
But we both are interested in nature.
Yes.
I want to know about how the entire ecology of the island works, how everything clicks together, all the different life forms.
I want to go see the waterfalls.
And I want to hang out with some Balinese people and see if they know anything about the social movements against destructive tourism developments. That sounds interesting to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, you can hear me yawning because we were just out there. We just got back from like fighting the scooter crowds, and it's just like it's exhausting when you get out there, man.
Yeah.
And the sun, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow and getting back in that pool.
Me too. And I'm also looking at that gecko.
I know. He's our little friend.
Yeah, he's adorable. He keeps twitching, kind of moving a little bit. He's on the ceiling. He's in the area between the wall and the ceiling. There's like a nice molding with a pattern connecting the walls with the ceiling. That's where he's chilling. All right, I think that's good. If we sound tired, it's because we are, and I'm all chewed up from the sun and the motorcycle noise and from working out so hard.
Well, and traveling to get here, we had like a huge. It was like from 4 a.m. till 2 p.m. the next day that we were in the airplane in a layover. We're in the Philippines.
We're in the Philippines for 8 hours,
for 8
in
hours
Manila.
in a layover.
That was actually the first time we got the culture shock from being out of Korea.
Yeah.
There was like people with machine guns in front of the airport. When we went out, we had to breathe in the tropical air, and we tried to go back in. They're like, "Yeah, you have to put your bags through
Recheck
a
your
metal
bags.
detector again just to go into the airport." And I was like, "Okay." And there are people selling little stuff outside, and there's clearly a sort of informal economy that they don't have in Korea, where everything's kind of official and corporate. And the people who are working, they would occasionally be like, "Hey," kind of a loud, gruff sort of thing, but then they'd go from that to smiling and laughing and yucking it up and like talking with tourists who are sitting by themselves drinking beer and just talking with total strangers for like 20 minutes straight. And I was like, whoa. I feel there's so much just spontaneity and authenticity with strangers interacting with strangers, which I did not get in Korea. People they're very good about minding their own business. And by good, I don't mean like that's a good thing. I mean good as in like they're very consistent about letting people do their own thing, which has pluses and minuses. Like on Halloween, when we went out years ago before COVID, wearing crazy ass costumes, nobody gave us any shit or teased us or anything. People are just kind of like accepting, like, okay, let them do their thing in Korea. But also, people can come across as kind of indifferent. But as soon as we got to the Philippines, we're like, oh, people are just kind of looking each other in the eye, smiling, laughing, yelling. Like,
Way more laid back, but also a little more. There's like this a little bit of a violent undertone, or like more of a scrappy. Like you got to make your way. Like I could see a lot of people definitely like working on the street, like an informal economy kind of vibe. So it wasn't Korea, and it was definitely not the Bali vibe. Like Philippines has its own, and we only got a little taste of it because we were only there for not even a few hours. Well,
no, we were there for 8 hours.
We were there for 8 hours, but we were sitting outside for maybe like I don't know 45 minutes or so, observing.
Machine guns and stuff. Yeah, I don't think we saw any machine guns here.
No. Well, I saw some guys that are like cops today hanging out by the ATM, but they were just chilling, chatting.
I didn't see any guns.
I didn't see any guns. Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty relaxed here. So yeah, Gecko is mesmerizing me.
They are pretty cute.
Yeah, they're adorable. All right, well, we're going to find more stuff to do later this week, but we're still kind of recharging after being chewed up and spit out through the airlines and...
and we almost missed our plane.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, a lot of rushing and going from super cold, like snow, to being spit out in the tropics where everyone's laughing and smiling. Wow, what a contrast. My body is still kind of clenched. It can't believe that it's not being put under surveillance and surrounded by the cold indifference of the people on the street. All right. Good.
Until next time. Signing out. You can hear my yawning.
It's 8:13 p.m., but we're still pretty chewed up and tired by all the motorcycle stuff today. All right. It's Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. And we are in Ubud, Bali, Indonesia. And this is us signing off.
Signing off. Good night.
Bye.
See ya.